This is the best job I've ever had in my miserable life. But even so, it terrifies me, because when the payout is so high, the target is usually impossible for anyone to kill. I'm the best tracker in the North, but honestly, I'm fed up with it. But this job will be my ticket out of all this. I hate the cold, I hate the snow, and I hate killing anyone. And even though the contract has a very strange clause, it says, bring it back alive without a scratch. But that worries me a lot, because I keep wondering, what kind of monsters are waiting for me? And in the Wishhab, it was one of the ruler's animals, and the sound of the wind drowns out any sound or tracks. But all of that is still unimportant. After years of this job hunting monsters, I've developed a sixth sense. And this thing isn't hiding. No, this thing is stalking me. And that makes me understand how very clever it is. So I pretend to adjust the unicorn's harness, but the truth is I'm doing that to look at the reflection in my compass. And then I can see it clearly, standing on a tree branch, ready to attack me. It freezes for a moment, then it leaps from the branch and attacks me. But I'm still ready for it, and I throw the ball filled with chemical smoke into the air. This weakens it, and its senses betray it. It falls to the ground, unable to see anything, and begins to suffocate. At that point, I only have 10 seconds before it comes to. I tie it with the rope, pulling hard on the knot, being very careful not to hurt it. When she wakes up, it's already too late, and I've put her on top of the rhinoceros. By then, she gets angry and starts kicking, but I've got her under control. Then we walk past the giant's graveyard, and silence returns to the mountains, broken only by the sound of the snow the rhinoceros makes as it walks. The adrenaline of the battle fades, and now the real work begins. This creature doesn't stop complaining in its own language, which is a mixture of roars and sounds I've never understood, but I'm sure it doesn't wish me well. Suddenly, the rhinoceros stops. The animal, which weighs about 3 tons, starts shaking its head violently and making noises, as if trying to back away. So I tell it, stay where you are, but it ignores me. Then I tighten the reins, knowing that if we fall, we'll both die, and then I'll never be able to retire. So I stop the animal and look at its front legs to see if there's anything wrong, but I don't find anything. When I'm sure it's okay, I see its eyes are full of fear. That's when I try to figure out what's happening. I can't hear clearly, but I feel in my heart that something dangerous is about to happen. There's a deep tremor that won't stop. When I look at the tied-up creature, I find it sitting still, not looking at me, but the muscles in its neck are tense, and it makes a strange sound. It makes that sound when it's in danger, when it knows an attack is coming and it tries to get my rhino to throw us off the mountain. Yes, it's a suicide plan, but a brilliant one. But I'm not suffocating her because I want her to breathe properly, so I take out a piece of wood and plug the rhino's ear so it won't respond to her threats. And finally, silence returns, and the fear that was in his eyes disappears.
They're moving fast, and they're huge. I understand they're wolves, but these aren't just any wolves. These are massive beasts from a bygone era, supposedly extinct for ages. They're the size of bears, and their jaws can split you in two in an instant. And they've surrounded us, the whole pack. Now there's no other choice. I goad the rhinoceros with my foot and make it run. The rhino, which weighs about 3 tons, after walking normally, starts running fast and breaking through any trees in its path. But the wolves are running even faster, trying to bite the rhinoceros with their teeth. If they defeat us, we're dead. I take another ball from my belt. The match inside explodes, sending them flying and blinding the pack leader. Anyone who comes near me gets hit with my spear, and I keep fighting them, hitting them in the mouth as they try to bite the rhinoceros. As we run, the forest suddenly ends, and we reach the edge of the mountain. I pull on the reins at the last second. I see the snow falling into the void in front of me. When I look behind me, I see the herd cornering us at the edge of the mountain. There are so many of them, and they're incredibly ferocious. When I look down, the void below me is hundreds of meters wide. It's literally insane. And I know it. I'm sure of it. But I have no other choice. I jump. The rhinoceros comes down with me into the void. The next scene, I find myself in the snow and blood, and my whole body hurts me. But thank God, he is still alive. The unicorn is hurting my side, but it is alive. The incident hit him, but there is no blood, but bruises. His skin is very thick, and yayo. I am looking for the object that was bound. I found the arrow still satisfied and surprised, but it's fine. Look around. Wolves are standing on the mountain, walking on us.
50 meters away, I see a cave in the rocks. I understand that we must enter this cave before the night, and it will not come to us. Otherwise, the herd will come down to us. Darkness will help us hide. We arrive with difficulty. The rhinoceros is in the first place when we enter, and he sleeps on the ground while he is tired. I put my hand on it. I make sure that there are no fractures. There is no blood, but bruises. After a while, I will burn with wood and the old bones that are in the cave. The light of fire makes the place clearer, and we feel that we are in temporary safety. But the fire thinks we need another, hunger, and I am not alone who I feel. Once I see something moving close to the entrance to the cave, a huge need with white hair and hidden among the cracks. She looks terrified. She trembles with fear because of the wolves outside. Near and holding my...
I leave her and go out of the cave to hunt for something to eat. After we brown the meat, we smell the fat filling the cave. When I look at her, I see her eyes widen. She's hungry. But her hands are still tied behind her back by the arrow. And I'm not going to untie them either. I'm not stupid. I cut a piece of the hot meat and go closer to her. She gets nervous because she thinks I'm going to hit her. But I'm offering her food. She has to eat from my hand like a trained animal, her teeth touching my fingers, but she doesn't bite me. Then she looks into my eyes. Ah, her gaze is hateful, but hungry too. And for the first time, we experience peace, agreeing to a truce without saying a word. At night, I can't sleep. I never sleep on the first night with the beast I've hunted. These are the rules I've lived by my whole life, and they've helped me survive more than any weapon. When I look at the rope, it's tight, but it doesn't cut the skin, and it doesn't leave any marks. That's the most important thing for me now, because even one scratch will reduce the amount I'll receive after I hand this creature over. The wolves are still there. I can hear them circling the edge of the mountain, but they don't come down, because they're smart. But they don't move either. They just stand there, waiting. After a while, the rhino snores, its skin lifting and falling as it breathes heavily. That's when I tell myself that tomorrow it will need water and food, or it won't live much longer. Then I look at her, and I see she's asleep, or pretending to be asleep. I notice that she has a scar on her shoulder, long and thick, obviously from a weapon wound. I understand that someone tried to hunt her before, and that's when I started to doubt. Because I know what monsters are like. I'm a hunter, and this is my job. I saw the blind snake in the lake. It had 6 meters of muscle and venom. And I saw the monkey that lived in the caves, the one that severed my friend's head from his body before it could even drop the net. And the spiders I encountered in the eastern mines, but I'm trying not to remember them, because those were the real monsters. But she isn't like them. The governor said she destroys villages and kills just for fun, and ever since then, I've believed him. But the truth is, monsters don't eat from your hand unless they bite you. As for the map.
The map is incredibly detailed. I've traveled these mountain roads for 30 years, but I've never seen this village, and most likely no one knows about it, but the governor does. But that's not my concern right now. Gold is the only thing that will get me out of here. As the first ray of dawn enters the cave entrance, we all get up. I place this creature on top of the rhinoceros, and we walk. This time she doesn't resist at all. She looks at me with eyes that no longer hold hatred. But I don't like that look, because at least hatred is easy and understandable, but the other emotions aren't like that at all. We descend from the valley, and the rhinoceros is limping on its left leg, but it's holding on. And I realize it's a noble animal. I must reward it after the mission is over, if it's even over. After a while, I see fresh tracks. They're clearly the tracks of a huge creature with large claws. And it's clear they're domesticated animals, something organized. And when I look closely at the tracks, I see they're heading north, towards the mountain where they hunted this creature. And then I understand that what's coming is worse than everything that...
He laughs, a genuine laugh, no joke. Yes, of course, a man who gathers beasts bound in chains with golden collars around their necks isn't going to offer a reward to just one hunter. And I understand he said those words to several hunters besides me. There's something wild in the mountains to the north. I want it alive and without a single scratch. At that moment, she smells them before I do, and the wind carries the scent of the hunter and the beast with him. At that moment, she feels a shiver of fear. And after I climb onto the rhinoceros, I prod it again with my foot, and after it resists, it obeys and moves. We continue our journey. And whatever is coming behind us, she knows what it is. In the next scene, we see a hyena coming in, moving with its snout pressed to the ground to sniff the scent better. Peril is reading every scent like a story. The fisherman above him is letting him take his time, sniffing thoroughly without rushing him, and he doesn't get off because he doesn't need to. He's observing the situation very carefully, calculating things perfectly, remaining firmly in place with a patience that seems unlikely to be shared by anyone.
No, this guy has hunted many big, ugly, and dangerous things in his life, and the hyena smells of suffering and snow contaminated with traces of chemical smoke. That's because that's exactly where I hunted it. But someone else hunted it, and he arrived too late. He raises his weapon, and the hyena walks south, then starts to descend. All this time, the hunter doesn't rush him, letting him do as he pleases. He understands that when prey is exhausted, it leaves easily detectable tracks. Without food or grain for the rhinoceros and without blankets, we'll never be able to reach the south. No, we need a village, and what you need in the south always comes at a price. Then, at the bottom of the valley, I see black smoke, simple roofs, and a fence of wood and bone surrounding a settlement. And the people who live inside trade in furs, and they don't ask any questions. That's what I generally wish for. But of course, I can't just take her in like that. The shape of her ears, the spots on her body, her legs, her tail, anyone who saw them would understand what she is. I walk around the area and find clothes spread out behind a hut. They look heavy, and among the clothes I find a heavy coat with a hood and tall boots. So I feel that this is exactly what I needed. After I take the clothes, I give them to her to wear. And the truth is, this isn't the first time I've stolen to survive. I give her the boots, and she winces when I touch her feet, but she doesn't resist. Then I cover her with the coat, put the hood over her head, and cover her eyes with it too. I grab her tail and hide it inside my coat. She's glaring at me. So I look at her and say, "Stay where you are. If they find out what's inside, they'll kill you first." I don't know if she understands me or not, but I'm sure she understands my tone. Then we go inside, and people keep staring at us. Of course, they have to look at us like that. They see a gray-haired guy riding on top of a rhinoceros, and behind him is someone wearing a coat and covering their head. But people here know when to look away, and most of them actually do. After I find the storage room, I see the black stones, the fur hanging by the entrance, and the bone post in front of the place. So I tie the rhinoceros to this bone post and look at her and say, "Don't move and don't make a sound." Then I go in and ask for grain, dried meat, a rope, and a heavy blanket. And I pay with